We're doing a little Decays II reunion. We shot that movie 3 years ago.
3 years ago.
Isn't that bonkers? Sobo, you were in town, so I figured now was a good time to fucking just sit around and just bullshit about this movie that there's so much to fucking talk about. We could just get into it with the literal beginning, but like, do you guys remember when I first asked you to fucking do this? And just like, what was that like?
I mean, it was interesting to me, because we had met in Rena's class, which we'd taken the year before.
Shout out Rena Heinrich.
Yeah, dope professor. Dr. Heinrich.
Dr. Heinrich.
If I might say.
Yeah.
But, don't laugh at me. But, no, but yeah, I mean, you asked me about it. I know you're in between me and the South.
Luke Lawton.
Yeah, Luke Lawton.
Yeah.
His actual name.
That's pretty crazy.
But yeah, I mean, it was cool. It was a cool project. I've always been interested in what you were writing in that class instead of studying or doing the work.
I was mostly just writing scripts
Yeah.
and not paying attention.
I don't know, but I was down from the get-go, so I was just excited to do something over COVID.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I think I remember you hadn't been back to LA in quite some time over COVID, and you were just kind of scheming in your South Dakota lair, and you pitched it to me probably when we were like just out getting canes or something as I think you just floated in a conversation when you were out there in like early 2021, and you're like, yeah, like if you want to play John or whatever, and then I think I like came around to it, and that's when we shot the teaser, didn't we? Or maybe you pitched it earlier and then we shot the teaser.
I think I might have talked to you about it like around when the first movie dropped.
Right.
And then, because I remember you were like, oh, I don't know.
Right.
But I think I've told you this before. Upon talking to you, I added like a musical element to John that I really liked. And so even if you, I know, I hate when that motherfucker sings. And so I remember thinking, I was like, fuck, I really like this. So even if you didn't do it, my backup was Cam Morris.
Oh, that would have been crazy.
Yeah, Cam was potentially John if this guy fell through.
And then I would have been Bill.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, yeah, perfect. Yeah, but I remember when we shot that teaser in
your old
living
place.
room, yeah, and that was a fun day.
It was Valentine's Day, right?
Yeah. Well, I think, was that before or after I had lost my voice on that trip? Because you remember, like, I had no voice for like a week.
I think that was before, because you still, or it might have been that you just got it back or some shit.
It was kind of close. And you were leaving like the next day. Like, didn't we shoot that like last minute right before you took off?
I don't remember exactly, but that sounds right.
Yeah.
It sounds like something we would do.
But yeah,
I mean, this guy's leaving in like, what, 3 days, and we're doing this now?
2 days.
To be honest, after we shot that John teaser, like months went by and I kind of had forgotten completely about it. And then you were like, hey, you're coming out to South Dakota in a month, right? I was like, oh, yeah. And so we did.
Yeah.
Nice. For my participation in Decays II specifically, because obviously we've been living together, just two of us, no one else in this group I lived with during that time.
Well, when we did Decays II, we weren't living together.
Oh, no, I was talking about initially at the very start, in college.
Oh, true. We did live together freshman year.
Yeah,
It was just us.
Just us, no one else.
Just you, yeah.
Yep.
But we.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah.
That's pretty sick.
Yeah, but I knew of like the plans and all that, and then we were in touch a lot throughout COVID. Like we consistently called and stuff. And I don't remember exactly when it was pitched specifically to like want to like, do you want to help with this movie? But I always did want to do like production stuff, and I was like, this could be a way to like learn how the movies are made. It wasn't, by the way. Then it was also crazy because as we got closer to it, then also I took on another role because I'm the fan favorite character. That was originally gonna be Grant, but I'm the one who stepped up. So
fucking Jonah Carlson.
Jonah Carlson.
Classic fucking Decays character.
The best character. And yeah, and then just, that was the extent of my participation. It was just, I think we talked about a lot on the phone calls, and so I just got roped in and did it. But I'm talking about the, like, roped in and all these phrases, like, it was a great time. I loved it, but, yeah, That's my participation though.
I know. I remember the first time you mentioned to me wanting more production experience. I was like, "Oh,
Yeah.
interesting."
Yeah.
I don't remember that. How about you? Were you in the movie?
I actually,
Wait,
I don't even know why I'm
you-
here. I
Wait,
think I
what do
should
you-
head
Oh,
out.
is that you on
the? Wait, is that you
Wait.
on the?
Is it?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
Oh, right. Oh,
John's
oh
girlfriend.
my God, John's girlfriend.
That's the one. That's
Duh.
it.
Right.
I thought you looked familiar.
Yeah, I
Who
think.
are y'all talking to?
No, I think what was cool about the way that you reached out to me was it was because of a scene that we did.
Shout out Sebastian. behind
Shout
the
out!
camera.
Yo, what's good?
He was like, because we performed a scene in one of our acting classes with Stevie Johnson.
Shout out.
Shout out Stevie. And it was a scene from Fool for Love, which was really gritty. But I think seeing that grittiness, you were like, oh, maybe she could do that. And I think you reached out to me just over text about it.
That was how I did it back then. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think because I was doing the first movie. That was like May 2020 when I did that one. It was just me and the Allen brothers, Jesse and Thaddeus. Fucking, I love those guys. And I realized like, oh, if this pops off, I might do a second one. But how do I set up that second one? I was like, oh, let me put Azalea in the post credit. Fuck, now I gotta cast Azalea. Which is when I remembered, that exact scene that you did. I was like, Alyssa could probably do this. I think I just texted you on a whim.
Yeah.
And I also requested that you do a scene because it was...
Yeah.
You had to shoot digitally, which we
Oh my
talked
God,
about
that
in
was-
another episode, but...
That was
yeah.
difficult. I don't know how. I mean, you saved that footage because I was filming it in like my parents' office with like all the like lights off and all that jazz, and there was like carpet. It was not apocalyptic
It
at all.
looks fine,
but it
you
looked
know?
it looked good. Yeah, for us shooting like completely remote. But yeah, that's how it came to be for me.
And that I remember just being generally shocked when like it came time to fly out, and you all were like, "Yup, fucking see you there." I was like,
Yeah.
Alright.
"Okay."
Dude,
Hell
it was
yeah.
like the height of COVID. Everybody wanted to like get
Yeah.
out.
I needed
Yeah.
to. I needed to get out of LA and just be in the middle of nowhere for a bit anyway. So it worked out. And then I hadn't seen you in well over a year, and you just come out of the airport looking like $1 million.
Yeah.
I mean, my old, my roommate, yeah.
No,
But yeah, it was crazy to like see you and
yeah, it was
mean-
really weird.
yeah.
I think I remember like exactly because I think I was at like baggage claim or near that area when you and Alyssa came up, and I was
Jumped
like,
you, yeah.
yeah, and I ran open and you lifted up your waist.
Yeah,
Spun
dirty
it,
dancing,
yeah, it's really hot.
Yeah, it was quite good.
But no, it was a bit weird that it actually happened. That,
Yeah.
like we actually did fly to South Dakota to do that. Like,
Yeah, no. Did you guys have any doubts at any point?
After
The
we went
process?
to Fazoli's, I was
Checked out.
Yeah, I was hooked.
Dude, don't get me
This is gonna be
started,
the
bro.
best.
Don't get me started.
I won't.
Better breadsticks than Olive Garden.
Right into the lens for that one.
He's got him awards out.
I can't do it.
Yeah, no.
It's alright. I'm gonna get their breadstick recipe.
Sam, do you want to commentate what's going on?
No, I really don't.
No, I'm sitting from here.
It's more continuous than Olive Garden.
So yeah.
Great service, dude.
I'm surprised they don't have a Michelin star.
I mean, that was your pitch too,
A what?
right?
A Michelin star.
It was just great service.
I know.
Yeah. What was the
They
pitch?
deserve it.
That was your pitch. Remember, we were because it was.
I said Fazoli's.
Yeah. Good.
There you go.
Makes
Because
sense.
we were. Remember, you got in earlier. Well, you got in a couple hours before they did. So it was me, you, and Shaolin driving around.
I was trying to get that South Dakotan cuisine.
And you did. That's where we found it in Fazoli.
A lot of Italians in South Dakota.
Yeah, it's mostly Italian, actually.
You said Whipple was had a lair in South Dakota. I just imagine that he was the Batman of South Dakota.
He pretty much
Just
is.
whenever he goes back there, I'm like, what are you doing, dude? Just saving fucking lives. is what he's doing.
I'll never tell. There is a Fazoli's here.
Oh no.
It's
All right, guys,
known about
let's go.
this.
it's a little bit of a dude. Like, why kill a good thing? You know.
We went back.
We did.
for Withered.
You went back to Fazoli's?
Yeah,
Yeah.
we went back to
Tell me about it.
Seb,
Tell me about it.
Tell me all the
Gas,
details.
right?
Yeah, no, we just sort of like, it was like tradition, you know? If we go back to Dakota for another shoot, we're probably gonna stop at fucking Fazoli's again.
Have to.
No, it's great.
I do remember the drive back too. I remember Sam had this like hilarious anecdote where he thought like you were joking about the length of the drive being 4 hours from the airport to your house. That was miserable.
Listen, when I said I lived in the middle of nowhere, South Dakota, I meant it.
You were lying. You
Yeah.
were lying. I thought you were
Literally meant
joking. I do remember you and I, because we were the smallest people, pressed into the backseat against
Still
the
true.
luggage, and
That
it
was fun.
It was,
That was really great.
such a harsh drive, but it was all worth it. Obviously, when we got there, because it was.
Did we stop at a Walmart? Was that when we stopped?
Yeah,
at a
Walmart.
yeah, we stopped
Yeah.
at a Walmart.
Because it was the last Walmart.
It was the last.
Right. 2 hours. Yeah.
No, it was 3 hours.
Well, do you guys,
and
if
15
you
minutes.
want to go cut even deeper, remember that one Subway that we would
Oh,
pass
yeah.
every time? And
Oh
we
my
would
God,
just
yeah.
pick up sandwiches every
yeah.
time we
Yeah,
would
the-
shoot.
the Subway right
one
in town.
Subway, yeah.
Yeah.
No.
There's a Taco John's now.
Oh, well,
There's a what?
that shit.
There
No,
you
I
go.
gotta go back.
Yeah, let's go.
The Pops is there now?
Hmm?
The Pops is there? Papa John's there?
No.
No,
Taco
he said
John's.
Taco John's.
Taco
The
John's.
Papa
it's
John's
different.
cousin.
Dude.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Mexican cousin.
Twice removed.
No
Was
way,
that-
dude.
When the Taco John opened, was that like huge for your town?
I'm gonna be real. It
Yeah.
kind of was.
They had a parade
I saw
and
the
shit.
post, people being like, "Yo," and it was like
Big, like,
the
ribbon
drive-throughs like
cutting.
around the block
It's
and
like 4
shit.
people.
That's wild.
Yeah, all 4 cars
Yeah.
were fucking there.
That's crazy. The whole
Ta-
town pulled up. That's wild.
Listen, Taco John's is the food we got for the second rap party. Remember Jesse
remember.
Allen bought us food?
Oh, yeah.
We were all fucking.
Right.
Yeah.
We were, having a good time,
Yeah.
and we had some tacos,
Yeah.
and it was the best fucking food I've ever had in my
It
life.
tasted so good. I remember at the time being like, "This is the best food I've ever had."
Yup.
So you know what they say about Taco John's, right?
What do this?
Tell me.
Great service.
But yeah, so because we were at the airport and then we went and got Fazoli's and had some really good service there, and then we went we did the 3-hour drive because I do remember specifically being like, so how far away is it? And I think it was like 4 hours or something. You said that, I was like, ha, that was a good one. And just no follow up really.
I swear to God, I mentioned that there was a drive after the airport.
No, you
you said a
definitely
drive.
You definitely did, but I don't think any of us expected
4 hours.
4 hours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe an hour. You know.
I don't know. I knew Whipple. I knew. I feel like I definitely know.
Yeah, I feel like that definitely became a bit afterwards. If we go to a location, how far is it? I'd be like,
Yeah.
Not too far. Well, it's gonna be 2 hours.
An hour and a
Yeah.
half, yeah.
Yeah.
It's crazy. You got a van stuck and it was like a rescue mission.
Oh.
So-
Let's fucking talk
Let's
about that.
let's get it. It's
talk
been like
about
10
that.
minutes.
So Alex got a van stuck.
Like an idiot.
I,
Twice. You got it stuck twice.
Was it
well,
twice?
well, the
It was
first time, to be
Wait.
fair, wasn't your fault because we pulled off to, I think, to swap, and we
Right.
pulled
Yeah.
off in sand.
Yes.
You remember that? So we were like,
Yeah, yeah,
we
yeah.
got it out, and then
But then I
'Cause-
tried to bang a Yui. You know?
no, you didn't. You went completely
That
off
wasn't like
fucking
that.
road.
You
No,
went
it
no.
isn't. Okay.
You didn't try to reverse and stay on the road. You just went fully off road.
No, as soon as you were like, I got this, and you went off road. I was in the back. I was like,
Dude,
fuck.
John thought he had it.
I was in
I know.
John thought he was
I mean,
him.
to be fair, that fits.
Yeah.
He was gonna swing off them rafters, you know.
He was
Dude.
going up the rafters.
Would have been the coolest thing
Oh.
he ever did.
God, yeah, you got that van stuck. We had to leave it. Remember? We had to leave for a couple hours. And then
Who ended up? Was it
Sean brought his Jeep and he pulled it out because we couldn't get it out with our cars.
So dumb. Not my finest.
Yeah, and then Thaddeus, that was his van, was just hanging out with us. Then we got it unstuck.
Yeah, we had to postpone filming that day because, like, by the time we got it out, I think like the sun was setting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had gotten like halfway through that scene.
Yeah.
And we were like, fuck it, we're just gonna come back.
You can't tell in the edit.
No,
you know?
because we went back at the exact same time.
Do you guys have a favorite scene, either to watch or even just to shoot?
My favorite scene to watch is our fight. I thought that was fun.
Yeah,
We just went to the backyard. Like, it wasn't like a lot of
threw
work.
me over a fire.
Yeah, did do that. It was a good fight choreo. It was also the first scene that we'd like ever done together. So
Yeah,
I had
that
a good
was
time with that.
That was my first scene
Mm.
on the movie.
Yeah.
We had the blood bag.
Oh yeah, that was
Perfect.
cool. With my
That
elbow.
was so sick. I just love that one shot.
Yeah, the sound. There's no sound design in that
that's
shot.
probably
it's
my
just the actual blood bag.
single favorite shot of the movie. Is
Really?
that with the bag and the splatter. That's I mean that's just so cool to watch because it's. So organic.
Do you also remember that night I beat you up?
Yeah, no, that was good. That was gonna be my second favorite moment. Yeah.
I don't remember what you did. You fucked up a shot somehow.
I literally put my flash on in the van and it.
And then I beat you up.
Yeah, you did.
I was also in the van.
Spank your little butt.
I did spank your little butt.
I was gonna say my favorite scene was also our fight scene because it's just so.
People just like to fight me.
It's, anytime I get to fight you, it's fun.
Yeah.
But I also liked the river scene because the way the camera was like going in and out of the water and all that. And it's the first time we see your character, and it's so like gangster. You're just like,
Oh, yeah.
you know.
I remember the screening that got cheers.
Yeah.
It's like fucking Thor's entrance in Infinity War.
It's so good.
But
I like shooting at the church, by the way. I thought that was like, to me, kind of felt like a home base. So
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
shout out
for
to
sure.
the Mormon church.
the Mormon church we shot in.
South
Yeah, we were
Dakota.
there a lot.
We
We
were,
were
yeah. Filmed
yeah.
there quite a few times.
Yeah, it was the one day where we shot like your big like I'm evil now speech.
Yeah.
And then you went home, and then we all went and shot the first chunk of the warehouse
yeah.
scene. So we were all fucking delirious.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
we could also get into this conversation later. That night is a whole fucking odyssey.
The first warehouse night.
Yeah, the first warehouse
Yeah.
is
specifically.
so intense.
Yeah, but I think even before that, I want to talk a bit about how much of a hand you all even had in this movie, just outside of your respective roles and everything. So I remember the initial warehouse scene. Bigby just rolls up and kind of just shoots and sprays, and you catch a bullet.
Yeah.
And then he caved your head in. But I remember we kind of
I
talked
remember.
about it, and you pitched the fight. Your initial pitch was a little insane.
Nah, dude.
The Raptors thing would have been crazy.
But we managed
Leaping
to.
up, grabbing the rafters, kicking
Yeah.
it with the chest.
He does a backflip.
Because I also remember with that specific thing of the rafter kick up, that being a conversation we were having in the basement, and being like, Alex, do you know how tall of a place that is? Like,
Why
how
were
short
you,
of a
why were you
vein
so
are?
interested in doing something like that? Do you have like a background in parkour?
Oh my
We don't have to
God.
talk about it.
We'll link it.
Well, like, yeah, just like a.
Yeah.
So
No, I just
good.
remember it's like, what if John jumped up and swung off the rafters? I was like,
Point A to point B.
Interesting.
Yeah. Parkour 101.
Yeah. But yeah, I remember because you were talking to me about John's death and everything, and how it was kind of just like a freak thing, and I don't know, it just seemed like I wanted it to be more. Like, obviously, because it was such a turning point. That's
Yeah.
like the climax of the movie. We've talked about
Oh,
this. That's the turning point.
Yeah, that's
for,
definitely
like,
where that
his
movie
death, 'cause
shifts.
she loses her shit, and everything kind of falls into place. And so for it to be kind of just like a random killing, it didn't feel personal enough. And
Yeah.
so like I wanted there to be at least. I mean, obviously John doesn't stand a chance. We all know that.
Yeah.
But at least
He
for
did
him
a
to-
kip up.
He did. Yeah, he did do that. Yeah, it was pretty cool. That was all CGI.
Yeah.
But yeah, to just put up a little bit of a fight and try to be the hero one more time because that's just who
Yeah.
he is. He just wants to try to save everybody.
I'll say also just to answer like the favorite scene or whatever.
We'll come back to the warehouse.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
There's a lot to talk about.
Oh, yeah.
Episode.
Yeah,
So-
I do like really like the warehouse, but I also do like the like
Pass. Move on. Sorry.
Yeah, you lost me.
Took too long.
the beginning of the schoolhouse stuff I really like. And I'm aware that filming the beginning of it was cursed. But
Yeah,
I think
definitely.
it just visually is fun, and it's a very interesting moment. Obviously, what with like the characters interacting with the amount of information they know. I like that
Yeah.
part a lot. But
You're talking about when they first enter the schoolhouse?
well, just really the first chunk up until like
zombies?
Yeah, the zombies.
Right,
shit.
I was gonna say that's my favorite one to watch back. I just feel like
Yeah.
there's so much
It's
happening.
So tense.
It's so tense. But I will say my favorite one to shoot, and we just had such a good time on set was when Shalom was there and like the house where we were like sitting down because I was watching the BTS today and like you were doing like weird shit with the camera. We like you and I kept breaking. We couldn't get through the scene, but I just felt like it was like a fun day on set where we were like exploring the house and all that.
When you said
vampire.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay, yes. No, now I got it.
Yeah.
That's all you had to say. Yeah. No, that was a fun day too. I did enjoy watching you get thrown against an oven many times.
Yeah. Best part.
Yeah. And the fidget spinner, that was good.
The fidget spinner was fun.
What was Nightmare Day, do we think? What do you think was the collective Nightmare Day? Because there's a couple.
There's many.
There's two.
Yeah, there's two big ones that pop up immediately.
Yeah.
One is ticks.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Man, let's do Decays Shoot Day Nightmare Bingo card.
That was
ticks
terrible.
for sure.
It was just a long hike. Like, didn't know when it was gonna end.
Yeah.
And then the ticks were crazy because it's just like a billion.
Yeah.
Having to
on you.
flick them
Remember
off
the
of
one in
each
your
other
eye?
like dogs.
Oh, I did have a tick in my eye.
I had one in my ear. I remember I found one when we were in the basement,
I had
and
one in my eye.
you looked at me and you were like, "You're lying, you're lying," and I like pulled it out of my ear, and
You
we all
guys were
screamed.
freaking out.
Yeah.
No,
They
you
fucking
two
sucked.
screamed
Okay, yep.
the entire time.
Alex and I were the worst when it came to the ticks.
They
It was
sucked.
bad.
I think that the tick day for sure.
Mm-hmm.
For me, the river day obviously, which was the last shoot,
Really?
last shoot day. I mean, because
It's for you, so y'all wet.
that was it was tough and it was windy and cold and but yeah. What about you, Jonah?
I mean, obviously we like Warehouse complicated, whatever. But also, one thing I think about a lot was the one with Norman and Steven when I played a zombie and it was so fucking cold. Like I remember we like huddled up at one point.
Yeah, we had to do a penguin huddle.
Yeah, because it was somehow like super
Freezing.
cold.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember it got better once we went into the brush, but even then it was like...
Yeah, it was.
Amen.
That's one that sticks out for me of just being like, I'm so
Yeah.
cold. Like, please, I don't want to be here.
That was when you played a zombie for like the third time.
Yeah.
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 The church
You
shoot
remember
was
that?
really cool, by the way. I should have mentioned that earlier, but when it was like freezing and it was dark at the
Oh
church.
yeah.
Oh,
And you
yeah.
could just kind of see, I was like, this random church in South Dakota with nothing around it for like miles
Yeah.
and miles.
Yeah, on a hill.
On a hill. It
Yeah.
felt straight out of like a Tim Burton
That
film
was
or something.
me, Jesse, and Thaddeus, right?
I was
Yeah.
there.
And because we did scout it in the day. 'cause
Yeah,
I remember
we
we
went
going
there.
inside there and like come back.
I have a picture of you like going like this at the altar.
That's pretty
Yeah.
sick.
Because I remember we were doing this one, there was like rough ideas for Decays 3, and I knew I wanted Jesse and Thad in there, but didn't want to like go through the complications of scheduling them
Right.
the following year. So I think that, the same day we actually did all that shit in the forest, we also then went and shot that just because they were already in costume.
The forest scene was just, because there wasn't that much to shoot, it was only like 4 minutes of film probably.
Which forest scene? The
Tick Day.
Tick Deck?
Tick
Yeah,
Deck.
okay, Tick Forest.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Tick
Tick
Forest
Forest,
Day.
I'm surprised you didn't say that, where you were laying in the
Yeah, you-
grass with the
You didn't even
ticks.
get any though, right?
Because when we
No,
got out of the brush,
I
like,
know.
I mean, like,
you
not when you're laying
stripped.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
did.
he did. Like,
Did you?
Yeah.
we all kind of did, but like
Yeah.
when we got out, it was like,
I like felt they were all on my back and stuff, and Sobo killed a spider apparently that was all crawling towards me that I didn't see. That to this day I'm eternally grateful for having not seen.
I definitely
But-
lied about it.
Oh, did you?
Probably. And I'm just like, he's gonna appreciate that.
Yeah. That's gonna be big for him.
Yeah, he's gonna mention this in 3 years.
But no, and then when the moment we got back, I did like go behind our van and rip off all my clothes and like swat down for ticks.
That I
It was-
remember.
Yeah. No,
It's just a problem.
For
Dude,
me-
all night warehouse. I'm
I
sorry.
was saying that.
Yeah, the warehouse.
No, that
Well,
takes the.
the
I mean,
warehouse. Yeah.
I was saying the two that popped
That
up
was
were
the
Tick
worst shit,
Forest
yeah.
and
Yeah.
Warehouse.
It was great remembering it,
Yeah.
but like it was horrible. I'm not gonna go for my story because there's a different story there that I'm not gonna say on
mean,
camera.
one of the 3 storylines.
Yeah.
Both nights for me were bad in different ways because the first night was just a long haul of us throwing each
Yeah.
other around, and then there was the initial complication of we were like 2 hours delayed
Yeah.
for shooting, and then the sun was coming up and all that stuff, and it was just a long night.
Which you
But
can
then-
see in the movie, which is crazy.
which is kind of funny. But
Under the
the
door.
second night, I just kind of sat limp
Yeah.
in a pool of blood with this thing hanging off my face for like 4 hours.
Yeah.
And so I don't know which.
Yeah, I guess I should kind of explain like how we did that because we kept you guys separate because we shot your guys' your argument.
Right.
Then you went home. We went and shot big fight scene, and then you were just like you watched Walking Dead, right?
I was watching Walking Dead, but then I get a call from you about like 2 to 3 hours. It's like what, like 1 in the morning at this point.
I need batteries.
Yeah, and you're like, I need another battery. And in my head, I'm in the middle of a state that I've never been in before, and you're asking me to drive your car, which is rare.
Yeah.
Like, other people do not drive.
You haven't driven my car since.
No, I haven't. I don't think many people have.
Yeah.
But
it's not an easy drive to get up to that warehouse.
No. I mean, we met him
halfway.
Yeah, we met halfway, thankfully. But what terrified me was on the way out, your mom was like, hey, are you, like, watch out for deer. Deer tend to jump out in front of the road. And so already just starting the drive, I'm panicking. But then I get out there, we do it, whatever, it's fine. But then on the way back, I hear a siren behind me, and there's a cop car that's, like, zooming up behind me. And in my head, I was like, I have my license, but I don't have the right to drive this car, like, insurance or whatever. Thankfully, I was just going too slow, and then as soon as I pulled over, the cop, like, zoomed around me. But I think that my heart actually did stop in that moment. It was petrifying.
Yeah. But, so we did the warehouse thing, and then we came back. You guys probably saw each other a little bit, right? Like, that night?
Yeah, probably in the morning, too. Like, when we had breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
But we kept each other apart, or
But
you
after,
guys kept us apart.
after, like, midday, I didn't see.
Because when
Wait,
Sophie
that
started
night-
working on your makeup.
What are you talking about that night? Like, we got home at like.
That's true.
right.
We literally got home at 8 in the morning.
You're right.
Yeah,
I
that's so
slept.
true.
We all slept like.
I
till
couldn't
3.
sleep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was,
you were too busy watching baseball.
Was I watching baseball?
You were.
Go
like
Phillies.
A maniac.
Go Phillies.
Go Phillies.
Or I was probably trying to watch Mad Max. I tried to watch Mad Max 5 times, and every time I fell asleep. But I got and The Big Lebowski and Reservoir Dogs.
Yeah.
But
Crazy playlist.
dude, I would go to bed and watch it, and I would get 20 minutes further every single time until I finished it. I was like, this is a great movie. Like, I have to watch it through the entire time, and I probably spent 15 hours watching Mad Max.
Yeah.
But we got back at 8 in the morning.
Yeah,
I remember
no,
we were playing your dad's CDs.
I remember that. Just jamming.
We were listening to AC/DC.
Yep.
And it was foggy as.
Did we stop at
I think we tried to
Did we
stop for
stop at
burritos, but it was
All-Stop?
closed because we were
It was too early.
It was too early. Yeah.
Damn.
What was it like, kind of being apart from him that day?
It was hard, weirdly enough. It was because
I had a great time.
it was awesome to get a break from her.
So quiet.
But I think it was difficult to spend time away from all of you, kind of. But I feel like since we were all together for like 2 to 3 weeks straight, 24/7, it was very weird to like not interact with you, because I think as soon as Sophie started on your makeup, like anytime I would pass the bathroom, Brandon was like, close the door, don't let her see.
Yeah. Honestly, I think the door was just closed. I remember like knocking and like getting jump scared each time I'd see the progress.
But that was probably, like, honestly the hardest day for me filming, because that was the day I decided to attempt to try method acting, and that was a big mistake.
Listening to Taylor Swift before.
No, it wasn't Taylor Swift, it was Olivia Rodrigo.
Oh, even better.
Better.
Driver's license.
No, but that was...
Fuck, dude. We should that's brutal. We should just play Love Story in the background the entire time.
Do you
my
remember
God.
when you went into the gas station, like, covered in
Oh,
blood?
yeah, I remember.
The dude was like, rough day, or like whatever.
Shit like
That's so
that.
sick.
That
That
dude.
was
I
the
love
one
that.
person who said anything to me.
Mondays, brother.
Mondays, am I right?
Yeah.
Also with the warehouse, because the other day that we were filming stuff there, wasn't that also when all like it was really muddy and that was a nightmare?
Yeah, that's
We
so
went there
true.
and
crashed the car.
Oh, dude, I
Oh,
struggled for like an
I
hour and
knew
a
that
half.
part, yeah.
Yeah.
We were
That
like
was-
drifting.
I believe that was that.
That was the second day.
You were there.
That
so
was
it
there. I was there for
second
that day because I remember like
We had to
all of
take-
us kind of just holding on, and
Yeah.
the car was like silent, other than like blasting like hella
Like,
music
yeah.
to get you hyped up.
I
to
had to lock in.
Yeah, but all of us were silent.
And
We were like,
yeah.
"Oh, we'll die."
That one was a Kiwi by Harry Styles.
Right, right.
Yeah, that was
No,
yeah.
we had 2 cars. One of them couldn't drive on that road.
Yeah.
It was gonna get stuck, so they
Yeah.
parked it like
At the
kind
school.
of at the school nearby, and I shuttled you guys. I think I drove up and down this probably like 1.5 muddy road 8 times, just going back and forth. And with how muddy roads work, each time it's getting worse and
You're
worse.
just wearing the same.
Yeah, so like, I will say by the end I was like kind of a pro. That first one, we fully almost died. Because we almost hit a tree. That was with you two, right?
Yeah, we slid and we like
yeah.
it was very close
Yeah,
to
it was like,
hitting the tree.
you're going sideways, there's a tree like right there.
Yeah.
But that was the other hard part about that is you had to keep us separate, so we had to go in 2 separate
two
trips.
separate-
Yeah, it was like
Yeah.
the fucking what's that one like puzzle where it's like crossing a stream
Yeah, it's like
with
the hen, the fox.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it's like you can't have one with the other.
Yeah.
I also, because that was also, if I remember correctly, that was when you and I were outside. That were like,
Yes.
okay, yeah.
Yes, it was.
Because in the process of shuttling this, there would be times when it's like, Brand's like, all right, time to drive with this load of people, and it was just Alyssa and I were just standing in the warehouse in the middle of the
Pitch
night.
black, dark, because all
It
the lights were gone at that point, because we were the last 2 people to get.
And it's crazy also because like we didn't like. There wasn't really a lot of great systems in place to be like, when are you coming back?
The service wasn't great.
Yeah, so you
No,
just kind of be like, I hope that Brandon's gonna come back up that road
I
somehow.
hope he didn't wreck.
Yeah, please God. But yeah, that was a very
funny.
strange time, just sitting in basically pitch black. I think you were still like obviously like emotional from the scene and stuff. So
Yeah.
just like it's a weird vibe you've curated here.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
but yeah, that second warehouse day was interesting and
Yeah.
doesn't get the same amount. I mean, the first warehouse thing, I literally told someone about it recently because it is so fascinating. And it has like this like 3 concurrent storylines. You know, with like you and Melissa, us at the warehouse, and Sobo and Chun and all them.
Yeah.
And it's just very.
I wasn't a
Interesting.
part of the scene.
Hmm?
I wasn't a part of the scene.
No, you were just hanging out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You were,
You played a goon.
you were one of the
You
goons
played
I
a goon.
killed.
I was dead on
You
the
played a
floor.
good goon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You gooned.
Just he was gooning.
Goonin.
We got the best deleted scene in the whole movie from that night.
Oh
do you
yeah,
remember?
it's canon.
Me and Sam.
Yeah.
I.
Oh right, yeah.
It's canon. Yeah,
It is a canon scene.
Great scene.
Alright, this is what I'm checking with the inventory right now.
Yeah.
See this? Alex Shaw. Alright, Boss Girl was telling me, look right here, these cracks. Feels like we're pretty susceptible to surprise attacks.
Yeah, no, I have
You can get a nail gun shape with that down, and if you check over on that side, maybe you could staple that up. I don't think anybody would attack us in the front though,
That'd be ridiculous.
considering we have this fucking shotgun here
Yeah.
that we're not gonna actually use.
It would be weird if I just ran that direction.
What do you think was your favorite moment on set?
I beat Keeney in rock, paper, scissors. Which was great.
Does that count as on set?
Are we talking?
Oh.
We're talking just when we were
Oh.
shooting, or like downtime too?
Let's do both. On
Okay.
set and then just like
No.
not even on set.
I don't know if I won or lost a pizza roll.
That's what I was gonna say.
You ended up winning, right? Because I have a video of that.
No.
Well,
No,
the
'cause-
rules kept flipping. Yeah, like okay, you get the pizza roll.
Well, because Sam won, and then he didn't want the pizza roll, so I think
Right.
they played again until you won, and then
Yeah,
you
I
ended
think
up
we just-
taking it.
Something like
No, I didn't. I said.
No, I don't think either of us wanted it for some reason.
But you're competing.
So I would
Because it was
win.
so many, because your dad
Yeah.
threw in the whole bag.
So
Yeah.
I would win, and then I would be like, oh, okay, I have the right
You have to eat it.
to
Yeah.
own this. You can have it.
Yeah.
Or like I would lose and be like, congrats.
It's like heads you win, tails I lose, or like
Yeah.
It's also funny because we had other moments of like, not like rivalry, but like the 2 things that stick out. This is a bit of a tangent here, but like. When we played Smash and I played with
Oh my
items and you got
God.
so mad,
Because you're bad without items.
but I won the games though.
They're like a shitty little hammer thing. It's ridiculous. Dude.
Oh,
got
and
them on
dude,
opposite ends.
Yeah,
of it.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's just really
Well,
ugly.
but
It was, you
only-
were getting so
No.
bad.
the other time,
I was pissed.
well, on the flip side, like like one of the maddest I've ever been in a person was when we then like towards the end of wrapping stuff went bowling, and you kept like yelling right before I would throw. And this one time when I did it and I got like I think I got a strike. I got like a lot of times, and I can remember when turn around.
You got a strike.
I think got a strike. And turned around and went up to you and was like, "Fuck you!" Like, the most impassioned I've ever been. Yeah,
that's funny.
Yeah, so those are some that come around like, you know, fun moments, you know, rivalry.
I think
Beating Sobo in Smash, legit.
They say a man is either good at bowling or good at Smash.
Yeah, that's what it is.
It's crazy you sucked at both.
Yeah, I don't know how you pulled that off. I think my favorite offset moment, like downtime moment, was when Sobo and I went fishing.
Literally the worst fishing trip of all
So
time.
funny though. We like threw a piece of bread at a beaver.
It was like we like
let me hear this.
we're
story.
acting like super like alpha, like dude, we're gonna get fucking
Dude,
fishing.
it's that fucking kid's fault. We walked up to the lake and the kid comes out with this giant ass fish, and we look at each other. We're like, "Oh my god, we're catching dinner, bro!"
I'm so excited. We're gonna bring like 3 big ass catfish back, and like we like had a pack of cigarettes, dude. We're like, we're gonna go out and go fishing. About an hour in, Alex is like, you know, the stream's had some action, and we like followed the stream down for like 20 minutes. Don't get a single bite. Like just stop fishing. Or like so pissed we've already smoked an entire pack of cigarettes.
Did we find a dead fish and try to eat
Yeah, we found a dead fish, cooked it, and threw it in. And then we were like, the one cool thing we saw was a fucking beaver that was like going around. I was like, oh my god, look at that beaver, dude, that's awesome. And Shaw takes his big ass stick and throws it at
No, it
it.
was the hot dog.
Oh, he throws the rest of our bait at the beaver.
Just pelts at the beaver.
Just runs away.
Oh my god.
Then we went home, we're like, what are we gonna tell him?
Yeah, we went and got for reals.
No. We had like been talking about like, oh dude, like let's go do this fishing trip for
You guys
like
are so hyped
a week.
about fishing.
A week.
It was the one day we both didn't have to shoot.
We did nothing, dude.
It was
We caught nothing.
Oh yeah, because that was that day you were like crying and shit because
Yeah,
it was the burial day.
Yeah.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah, I had to cry so much.
Yeah.
Towards the end, it was like almost every day. I had to like muster up.
Boo hoo.
Womp
womp.
Offset, I think whenever we went to Rapid.
Love Offset. Man.
Dude, R.I.P.
What?
I love Offset.
Oh,
Wait,
Offset.
did you just go on that? Wait, which one died?
Let's assume he died.
Yeah, okay.
Oh my god.
It was him.
Was it Rapid where we went?
Yeah.
For
No, his name
the
is-
trip where
his
you
name's
left.
Offset. How about when you couldn't get your line right in the church for 45 minutes?
Which one? Oh, the like.
Was that you or
speech?
Shaw who couldn't?
No, that was
Yeah,
him. That was not
Oh,
me.
really?
Yeah. I actually do think one of my favorite on-set moments though was like that day that we did the speech, because I remember we had like our fight afterwards,
Yeah.
and it just felt like really like good how we had fought. And then I remember after we had finished, I think we finally got through it because you had struggled with that line for so
Yeah.
long, but it felt like a really good take at the end. And then I just remember you and Chun running out like, yeah, we did it, like.
No.
I want you to put together like a Chun count of how many
There
times
is.
I
There
like,
is a chunk.
There is there?
On
Okay.
the, behind
Like
the
of
scenes.
how many times I like turn him away in
Yeah.
that scene.
Yeah.
Just a minute.
There's
Just
a
get the
counter.
fuck out. Like,
Hey John, you coming?
Yeah.
Hey John. Hey John.
John.
What? Hey
You're wasting my talent over here, man.
I get paid hourly, it's okay.
I think my favorite is kind of both. I honestly was really liking when we were taking the poster pictures.
That was a great day.
Yeah.
Just like
that was fun.
I think just seeing everyone in costume working together, and I was like, this is sick. Because we did that before we started even shooting.
Yeah.
That was day 0.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We got
true.
McDonald's together that
We
day.
did,
we
yeah.
did. We went to Nebraska.
Cross
Yeah.
state line.
We did go to
Rolling around
Nebraska,
China.
yeah.
What was the hardest part to break into in playing your characters?
I mean, I can start.
Yeah,
Uh,
please.
Yes.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, go
A
on,
fearless
Jonah.
leader.
Yeah, I mean, it just. I've always described Jonah as a postmodern protagonist, and that he's a multi-layered,
That's funny.
multi-threaded entity,
Yeah.
almost disconnected from the. Nah, I just was like worried about fucking on my line poster. That was was the extent of it. But yeah, I wore a flannel, and that became foundational to his character.
Yeah,
So
have not seen him without a flannel.
Never seen this fucker, and he has several different flannels that he wears.
And two of them are kind of similar, but different.
Jonah patented the flannel.
Jonah patented the flannel. That's what he did, guys. But yeah, so I think that's, enough time of me yapping to give the actual answers time to, happen, so, yeah.
Appreciate it, Jonah.
Yeah, no worries.
I just kind of was, imbued a little bit of Sobo into Lawton, so originally I was like, is this guy supposed to be the ultimate badass kind of stuff, and then I was like, you know what, I fuck around, there was, a little bit of comedic relief with Lawton, which I found super easy. For me, I didn't know Jesse before I went out to shoot, and that's a big part of my storyline. So that was the hardest day of shooting for me, when I was out in the back and trying to give this big emotional scene, which ended up well after editing. But I felt horrible about it.
I remember that. And I remember, we've talked about this. I really like that scene. I love that moment of nah, fuck, and you just kind of you see him come to terms with it, pop him, and then just melt,
Yeah, it was cool. It was just, didn't feel good if it was on a stage or anything.
Right.
Because I used to be an actor, by the way. I used to actually do that.
Oh
Yeah.
my god!
Wait, hold on.
I used to
Stop. Did we know this?
That's when I was really into the whole art form, so it was cool with me. And then our dialogue after the fight, I think, is unbiasedly some of my favorite lingo in the entire movie. So
they have a good back and forth. It really helped establish the groundwork for those characters' relationship moving forward in the series.
It was cool.
But it was always a great time when we got to do a scene together.
Yeah, because we don't work on a time frame, so we're just all right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get a milkshake and then come back. All this.
Why you, big dog?
Big dog. I think I had two things that were difficult for me. The hey asshole thing, being intimidating was so difficult for me.
Oh yeah.
I could be intimidating when it came to scenes between the two of us, or
her boyfriend.
Yeah. Well, when we had fight scenes, I feel it was easier for me working off someone when you got to
someone small.
Yeah. It's just because you're short. No, I think when you had the rapport to bounce off of each other, it was easier for me to become intimidating. But just in those moments where I had to immediately snap into being intimidating was damn near impossible for me.
Hey asshole!
It's me, Mickey. But and I think the other thing that I was nervous about going into, but it ended up being fine, was this was my first time doing a longer project where I had to have a relationship with someone.
I was gonna say that. Yeah.
And we did not know each other, and I had met you maybe once, twice, before.
We met him in his underwear.
I did. When we first met, you were in your underwear in your dorm room, so.
That was the stepping off point.
Yeah, right. But we met we really met for the first time, when we went to the airport together, and so I was really nervous.
Right. We Ubered from the
Lorenzo. Yeah. So I was really nervous going in, if we were gonna have good chemistry, if we were gonna get along, because you hear the horror stories of people who hate each other, and obviously I do hate you.
Right.
The chemistry worked.
That's what happened.
No, yeah, it ended up working out.
No, I was gonna say that too. Trying to, because John and Azalea, at the time that we shot in that that world, they'd already been together for a couple years. Yeah. So it's trying to step into someone's 2-year relationship and pick up all the nuances of that, and the fights that they've had, and the disagreements, and the life planning, and all this stuff. Even pro level actors have a tough time, portraying that sort of intimacy on stage. So it was we're on film. So. But
something I actually also want to bring up that I should have brought up earlier, your overall prep on this was very impressive, because you had one big role before this movie, the biggest role, honestly, where you played Christ himself.
Yes, yes, the big man.
Yeah.
The big man.
And so I I remember we talked and you had some background with acting. And I was like, Shaw's my dog. You could probably do it. But I remember you came in with your big binder.
You can read.
Yeah. You can say words. But you came with your big binder and had all your notes and everything.
Yeah.
You remember his big binder?
I do, yeah, and I like.
It was you.
He's like walking around like this.
Get into Sobo, he's like.
Yeah, it was a normal size binder.
Yeah.
He's just,
No, but I remember like, cause we spent most of our time like downstairs in that basement. Like that was pretty much where we spent.
Brandon wouldn't let us
The
leave.
dude shack. Me and Shaw's dude shack.
Dude game.
That was the first Mojo Dojo Casa.
Dude.
That's so
OG.
true, the OG. But I remember you would like at like every night you would like be looking for the next day and you'd be like taking notes and all that. And I remember at the beginning of the shoot, you were more like asking Brandon what he wanted, and it was really cool to watch you like as an actor like throughout the progression of the film like start to make your own choices, and like you would still collaborate with Brandon, but like with the whole thing of like John's death, like you started to push more once you played him more, which was like really cool to see you like grow so much as an actor in those like 2 to 3 weeks.
Yeah, it was cool. I'm now remembering the whole cut back and forth thing between like John's death and then what's his name, the character Pete and you finding Pete, and it's cutting back between the warehouse and Bigby's gonna show up, and it's like the clock is ticking and it's getting closer and closer, and then then shit goes down. And I remember we were talking about that, and I remember pulling pages out of the binder and like moving them and being like, no, this has to come first, and then we're gonna move this here, and like that was super cool to like, do and like watch it unfold live when we were editing it. I was like, that fucking works.
No, that's where, I don't know if I even mentioned this earlier. That's probably my favorite scene in the movie. Not even the warehouse, just the lead up to the warehouse. Yeah, just like the music that's building. It sounds like a heartbeat, so it just makes you nervous. I don't know. It's just a really good sequence.
Super good, yeah.
My hardest scene was probably like the fake out death scene, and then just like talking with you, and like that's where you kind of really, for the first time in the movie, see his walls are down because he got shot. You know. He doesn't have like the tough front up and anything. He's not pushing people away. He's just like, man, I kind of fucked up. Like I've made some bad choices and nothing I can do about it now. Then just surviving that, I think it helped motivate his characters moving forward. But we shot that immediately after, right? Like we went from zombie day, because I was still covered in all that the blood and everything. So and then after we shot that was when I went to the gas station.
We tried to get for reals, but it was broken.
I know, it was fucking, the machine broke.
So sad.
Another hard day though. And it has nothing to do with the character himself. It's just because I was like fed up this day for some reason. Was our fight.
Oh my god, yeah. I also fucked up your foot.
You did drop like a 60-pound table directly on my foot. It was supposed to be a flip to the side. Nah, she flipped it forward. Right, it was a rehearsal. We weren't even recording. There's no footage of this.
My favorite part though is that happening. Alyssa freaking out, being like, "Oh, you okay?" Like, yeah, I'm good. I'm fine, whatever. And then you turn and walk over to me, being like, "I'm not. I'm really bad."
No, because I was walking. I was like, it stings a bit. It'll probably be okay. And then I think we got to the point where you were getting like knife makeup because like Bigby slashed you in the face.
Sophie,
Yeah, so we were taking a little break, and that's when I hobbled over to you. So I was like, fuck, my foot's not feeling better.
Bad.
Every time I told you, I was like, it might be broken, but let's get through the day. But then you were just kicking me around the rest of the day.
Yeah.
All the blood hits, the hammer. I remember like, you were recording, and I think there were a couple of times where you fucked up, and I was getting fed up with you.
I was like, it's like, the lens cap's on, hang on. It's like those, my thumb was over it.
Yeah, because there's like the big shot that always gets your reactions where I'm up against the table and you hit me and the blood hits the table.
It's a great,
I remember we had to redo that a couple of times. Remember we had to wipe off
the
table.
We had to do the spit take on me twice too.
And that was your request.
I felt like I laughed whenever you did it the first time. I went like,
So I remember I initially was like, because we had like the kind of like the face off, and I was like, can I spit in your face?
You were just so fed up from the 2 weeks that I
fucking hate this girl. But then you were like, yeah, and I was like,
sure.
I was like, okay, we're doing it once.
Yeah.
I did it the one time, and I was like, okay, cool. And then you were like, can we do it again? And I was like,
yeah. I just didn't feel good about the take. Like, yeah.
And the one we got,
Pretty sick.
Yeah.
Pretty fire.
I like because we kind of choreographed that between you two on the spot. I do like that's the shot where you're crawling under the table and then you see her flip it.
Yeah.
I just think
really
that's
cool.
cool.
Yeah, that whole scene was really cool. Despite it being low key a nightmare day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the next day when we had all the zombies, that was pretty sick. Like I think that's still the most zombies we've ever had.
Oh, for sure.
So just seeing them all flood out of that little corridor was really sick.
It was really like energetic on set that day too, because Sophie was just like going through everyone and like there was like a random dog that came in.
That stray dog that walked in, was hanging out with us.
Yeah.
I love when Sobo like vaults over the aluminum
Yes,
thing.
that
The
looks so
red
cool.
light is like flashing, so you can like you're catching like
that bit
strobe
got
glimpses.
cut, but
did it?
Yeah, we shot it, but we cut it because I was like, why?
It's too chaotic.
Yeah, it's like like you can't see shit, so it's just like
Yeah.
you coming down the hallway, but
I
we
love that
get the
one,
flash
too.
every time you shoot.
Those
which is
are
really
so
That's my
That's
favorite
all
shot
you,
of the
big boy.
movie.
Yeah, that's
Is your shot where you're like screaming and you're like shooting. That's my favorite shot of the movie. Yeah.
Double holster.
Yeah.
And Alex was saying that I did do like all the muzzle flashes and I fucking.
You're the pro. You're the go-to guy now.
Go-to.
That was great. Though.
Yeah, but I mean I think they're really good and it like really does help sell like the guns and stuff. But it is like God, I hate.
Well, because sometimes the shot would be absolutely perfect, but
And then
it wouldn't line up, or it would be on for like half a second too long or something.
Yeah.
And then there's just Thaddeus just booking it every time. Like everyone's just like kind of zombie running, whatever, and Thaddeus is just full sprint, just like coming down the hallway.
There's one of the takes where you can hear it before it's like, all right, and rolling, and you hear, hey, Thaddeus, could you just like slow down a little bit?
He was just running up on you.
And there was like a little baby who like ran after everyone.
I do love the shot of you two where you jump down the stairs into like a fucking parkour roll and you like let off two shots and they just like fall down the stairs.
Yeah.
Sophie was one of the people that fell.
Yeah, Sophie
Yeah.
and then Jacob Allen.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Keeney, I actually have a quick question for you.
Oh God. Okay.
What was it like playing 7 different characters?
Yeah.
I think it's 7. We did a Keeney count when we did the commentary.
Yeah.
but-
I think so. Each time I kind of went to one of these characters, I kind of looked at them as like a postmodern protagonist. It's really multi-layered and multifaceted. And that was kind of the approach that I had going into all these films. So a lot of them were, just like corpse, whatever, be here. And I was fine for the most part with those. I do think it's really funny that I play her brothers, because then we just have to be like, because it's like
your torso the shots.
well, because it's like getting me like a pudgy white guy to play. So it's like we can't frame. We gotta be really smart about how we frame this because we cannot show that it is nowhere near the same person.
Yeah, because I remember Colin Roland Soldier, who played Sean and Richard, was supposed to be in the movie, but last minute couldn't do it.
Yeah.
We've since gotten him back
Yeah.
to do Withered, which is super sick. Part of what they were going to shoot were the corpse scenes, but then we were like, well, these scenes don't work without finding these bodies.
Yeah.
So
Shout out
Keeney,
Chun for coming
you get
in
to play
too.
another body.
I said shout out Chun for coming in last minute too, because that was the day before we were supposed to film.
True,
My
yeah.
least favorite thing to film
was
was
the
that
morning,
scene.
the
Yeah,
morning scene.
with
yeah.
the
sippy cup?
the coke.
Sip-
Yeah, the
oh,
sippy
Which I
cup.
brought back for you.
I have it. It's in my kitchen.
Richard and Sean were supposed to they were like, yeah, here's the mission.
Yeah.
And they were supposed to be at the base when you report back instead of Mia's character. Shout out Mia.
Shout out Mia. I love
But all
Mia.
those lines were supposed to be for your brothers, but since Rolly couldn't do it, had to swap it. But no, shout out those two, Chun and Mia, for coming in and taking on some lines that they didn't agree to initially. First day of shooting was Farmhouse, right? And you were that's one of the ones you were a corpse in.
Yeah. I think that one also. I think it's a very cool visual of the blood stain on the wall.
That's one of my
Yeah.
favorite corpse versions of you.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we did. I think that was the first day, and then we also did the nighttime stuff, right?
Yeah, with us or like the guitar scene.
guitar,
Yeah.
And Keeney, you hopped around a lot and did different jobs on this on this movie. Is there a particular job that you enjoyed more than the others, or it was Muzzles, right?
Yeah, it was Muzzles. Actually, now I think about
That's
it,
one.
I don't really think this was like a role really, but it's something that I like a lot. So it's something that was good for me. It was like when we like the talking through and like almost getting to the point of like arguing, but in a good way about like the script and the characters and all these different ideas. Just because that's the realm of stuff that I feel like I know and that I operate well with. Because I remember we had a really long, like, conversation about, I think it was about John's death.
No,
I remember that day.
Yeah.
Ooh, you got heated.
Yeah, because that was the same day we shot our fight, and so I just took me being pissed off from that conversation right into the scene.
Yeah. But it was a really, like, I like doing that, like, having conversations about that and brainstorming that, because that really then bleeds into what I think was great about the whole product. It was how much of it was, like, collaborative and open to change, contingent on like what people want and feel and stuff. And I think that was really fun. So that was probably like, I mean, it's not really an exact role. Like it's just like it's not like in the credits I'm listed as like yapper or something. But no, I did like doing that a lot. And the thing that I hated doing is the muzzle flashes. Fuck the muzzle flashes.
All right, well, we're probably gonna need to do muzzle flashes in the future. I had an interesting question for you. So I think you have the most longevity in terms of your character. You know, Azalea's still kicking.
For now.
If you were somehow given the opportunity to do Decays II over again, would you play it any differently? And if so, how? And I guess I can send this out to everyone.
Okay, well, obviously, I mean, I think that my acting ability has gotten better since Decays II, because Decays II was, like, my first real project. Because, I mean, USC was wonderful for, like, helping us, but I think the most I've ever learned was honestly, like, in the first, like, 2 years of college, like, that was the most helpful thing that I experienced in terms of acting, was just being on that project and collaborating with all of y'all together to, like, create this. But I think because of that, like, no. I mean, I think that my acting ability has gotten better, and I think, like, in Withered, there's a difference.
Yeah.
But I think that where I was then, like, it brought out the best that I could have done at that point.
I would make John sleep on his back, not like this.
Oh my
In the back. That's what I would do. That's what I
forgot about
the
that.
one choice.
I would make John sleep like this.
He's just like, that's crazy. And then he wakes up and drinks a sippy cup.
It's so obvious in the movie too, like you can see the outline of you just
You see your cheeks?
Yeah.
I forgot you.
Well, would you change anything?
I'm pretty happy with Lawton in that movie.
Oh yeah.
I don't really have anything that comes to mind that I would change. I really enjoyed like kind of just doing that. And it was kind of like, I don't know, Meryl Streep says like, look how I act, it's me as a doctor or me as whatever. And I kind of just was like, man, what if I was a military dude?
You like Mexican food?
You like salsa, Brandon? Shit, I've been to Denver. I was like,
What the fuck does that mean?
I literally was like, what the fuck, bro?
Some of our best shit was improvised.
No.
The football.
the football was
Bro.
so funny.
I still want you to edit in like cat noises. like crashing. When he throws.
I don't know, I feel like I overall understand Bigby a bit more. This kind of era of Bigby is something we kind of look back on a lot, just with like what we're kind of writing now. And so I think with what I know now about him and like where he's going, but I think I would, if given a second go, probably just change some of the nuances of it and a bit more of like the subtleties. But like I don't think so. But speaking of Bigby, you directed Gravsley.
I did. Once upon a time I did.
Yeah. What do you want? You want to talk about that for a little bit?
I was into it initially off the jump, and then you said, yeah, and I kind of want to do it in like the mountains and the snow, and I was like, I'm fucking there. It was like the thought of doing like an Empire Strikes Back, like Hawk Planet, like Decays universe film was so cool to me.
Yeah.
Especially growing up in Florida where snow's like mystical
it's not real.
doesn't exist.
Yeah.
It was cool because I got to see Bigby from John's perspective. Like, I feel like that's where Bigby went the farthest with his conviction to, like, get revenge. Or at least up to that point. He was, like, full, just maniac mode.
Yeah.
Just, like, slaughtering people left and right, out of vengeance. And he is vengeance. And,
True. He says that.
he does, yeah. And so, for me to kind of take that image of Bigby and rewind the tape to where he kind of started, because we get the flashback in Decays 1, and you get the real batshit crazy Bigby in Decays 2.
Yeah.
And then it's like, there's some gaps that you wanted to fill in, and I was like, this could be really interesting for his overall character development. And I think we kind of played on the 3 steps of him losing his shit. It started with, like, you know, the beginning, he lets that girl go, tries to steal his backpack. It comes back to bite him in the ass eventually, and you kind of see him lose his faith in humanity, because it's a humanity tale.
Ultimately, humanity tale.
Right. And so you kind of see him lose the kind of fatherly, you know, wanting to help people, wanting to give the benefit of the doubt. He loses that and just, like, says, fuck everybody, I'm just, like, gonna do my own thing and not trust these people, and you kind of see that snap.
Yeah, you see him kill his first person in Gravsley.
Yeah. And that was really cool to kind of encapsulate. And I guess it kind of has that, like, not like silent film, but there's, like, not a whole lot of dialogue.
He doesn't talk a lot. There's no one to talk to.
Yeah, and it's got the kind of, you know, the creepy cello music, and it feels very, like, you know, No Country for Old Men, like, kind of vibes. He's just, like, doing his thing. And
it was also pretty efficient. We shot it in, like, 3 weekends, something like that.
Yeah.
4?
Yeah.
Because we broke it down in a way where every additional person who was in that cast only had to go out there for 1 day.
Right.
Because we had that first day where it was me, you, Ian, Maddie, and CJ. And so, because do you remember, we shot the opening scene, which is like Bigby's first interaction with Freda, which is where I also ripped my pants, if you remember that.
I love this.
I ripped my pants, because
He did.
I had some blue jeans, I had like a little rip, and I was like, oh, whatever, these can get all bloody, you know, they're already ripped. Did not process that, you know, a little rip could get bigger. So I'm running around doing stunts, and it rips all the way down to my knee. Anyway, yeah, so then after we finished that scene with Maddie, we were like, oh, fuck. Now, like, we had to go into town, had to buy expensive-ass ski pants. So, and then the final act, Bigby just wearing ski pants. Then we had to figure out
how does he get ski pants?
Yeah, how does he get new pants? So what we did was we
good.
threw one of the zombies he runs into immediately after running into Freda, and they're wearing the ski pants. And in the fight, Bigby canonically rips his pants.
You can literally see it.
And
that's the first. Is that the first line? It's fuck.
Yeah, the first line is fuck. I'm looking at his ripped ass pants.
we're focused on the dead zombie, then we focus over to you, and you're like out of breath, and you look down, and you go, fuck.
And then it sees the ski pants and the zombie. He goes.
Dude, that is such a laugh track moment to me, because it's like focuses on the pants, then on Bigby, then back to the pants, and he kind of gives that look of like, huh. And then the next scene is him walking away, and then you can see the pantsless zombie in the back. I'm like, this is so good.
No, that was great adapting on our part.
Perfect.
But no, that was a fun one. I'm
super fun.
I'm glad you got to do that.
Yeah. And it you know, for the time, at the point when it was released, it did like really well for a spin-off thing.
Yeah.
And yeah, I thought it was good.
Yeah. And then in terms of like release shit, I do want to talk about Decays II dropping and what was that like with us, because we premiered it that early in that October, and then it came out later that month. Do you guys remember the premiere and or the first day it dropped?
I mean, I don't think I really remember the first day it dropped, but I remember the premiere like really vividly.
Yeah.
Just cool. It was cool to have like it just accumulate to that, and then watching the numbers go up was kind of just like shocking to me, because I was like, did not like expect it to like do like crazy numbers at all.
Yeah.
YouTube might just be a wave.
So. It's still our number one movie of all time. It's at 2.6 mil currently.
It's weird. It's the only movie that like John is in. That's
He dies in that too, right? He dies in it, right?
Yeah. It's like the most replayed section is John dying.
We did joke about that because like when it did come out, you watched it so many times. Yeah, and it was funny the idea of like getting to the point that you die, then be like, all right, I'm done. And if you look at the viewer retention rate, it's like just a drop off. Like, no, I remember. I think the premiere was really cool. I think it was like kind of what Sobo was saying. Like it was cool to see like, you know, the tangible end to all the work we'd done. And yeah, I also remember mostly for the actual drop. I just remember like just a lot of like uncertainty, kind of, just because we put in a lot of work, and, like, we liked a lot, but then obviously when you're putting it out there, that's kind of, it's a bit of an unknown.
Mm-hmm.
So I remember, because obviously we were living together at that point, so us being a lot of just like, what's gonna happen if it doesn't work out?
Yeah,
Like,
because the first Decays had done like pretty well for our standards back then, but that came out during October 2020, which was the most like, I think Tenet was in theaters, but like that was the one thing that was playing. And so that movie goes out around Halloween, pops off. People are like, oh, you know, there's no trick-or-treating in my neighborhood, so we stayed in and watched this instead in the comments and everything. So I'm like, holy shit. But then obviously a year later, stuff's more open now, you know, and so it's like, fuck, now we're dropping another movie, but we don't have that advantage of people being cooped up. So like, well, how's this gonna do? And I remember it dropped, and I woke up that next morning, so it dropped at midnight. And it had already surpassed how many views Decays had gotten in a week in just like 8 hours.
That's crazy.
So I was like, holy shit. And it just kept taking off from there. I think it's still growing. It's still one of our most like highest viewed things on a daily consistency. I really like that movie a lot. Like, I think it's such very foundational for this production company and kind of where we're heading.
It makes me happy.
It feels like a part of it was just because, like, obviously, like, so much goes into every project, but this one just felt like all 5 of us were just so passionate about it, and it, like, we weren't just acting, like, we would be sitting in the room with you while you were editing it, like, firing off ideas about, like, how to edit it further, or, like, what we could do the next day, or, like, how we could get more people to see it, or whatever, so it really felt like all of our hard work and our passion, like, paid off.
What a great movie. What a great time. I am so very grateful that you all were so down to do it. I remember being so nervous, being like, oh, do you want to come shoot a movie in South Dakota? Oh, fuck. But, no, just super grateful for you guys. If I had the chance to do it all over again, I would pick the same fucking people. So.
Hell yeah.
It's one of the most fun, like, times of my life. Like, for sure.
Totally.
It was great.
It was exactly what we needed at that time.
Yeah, it was like the perfect like moment in time, and it almost felt like everything just kind of stopped, and we like went and did it, and like
yeah. Cause like, you mentioned this in the history video we did, but it was like the first time seeing people for. I mean, I went out to LA and did things I shouldn't have done. But it was weird to kind of like get back into a production with you guys, you know, because like I shot one with like my Dakota folks, you know, and I'm used to that, you know. I've been doing movies with my Dakota friends at that point for almost my entire career, but like it reached a weird level of legitimacy when you guys came out. So I'm like, oh shit, like, okay, let's do a fucking movie.
I feel like it bonded us for life too. Like now it's just like we like experienced this like awesome thing together, and while we were there, like we were like, this is gonna be like something that like we look back on like forever. But yeah, I feel like even 3 years later, I mean, we don't see each other all together very consistently, but when we do, it's always like special. I feel like that's the shoot where you and I became friends, like definitively. You know? You were like cool before that, but like that's where we became friends. But I was. Well, not you, but like, I was pretty tight with you guys, dude. I feel like I became friends with all of you because I didn't really know. I mean, like we were kind of together. We were kind of friends before because of class, but like didn't really know y'all that well, and then like we just like bonded so much over that.
Yeah. Also, shout out you for agreeing to do it, just a bunch of dudes.
Oh yeah, I was like sure. No, it was super fun. It was like wouldn't change it for the world. Wouldn't change any of the people and. Yeah.
Well, except Alex.
Well, yeah.
Right. Obviously, of course. Goes without saying.
There was one more thing I wanted to hit on before we wrap up, and it's something I think you guys in particular could have a lot of input on. The Lost Song, which was like the
Grammy nominated.
You never gave me credit. Sorry.
But yeah, I just wanted to talk about that a bit more, like crafting that song.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like Sobo said, I mean, I kind of just barely had a chord progression and a melody loosely when I showed up, and
there's a melody.
You talk about it.
That was on my song apparently.
I was asking both of you guys.
Our song.
No, I
Like
mean,
release.
you came with like a little like 5-3-1 progression, and it was cool.
A little.
And, but I don't know. It was fun. We just kind of sat there. I think I wrote the first like 2 verses, and then you sang it, and it was a really, really nice song. I think it touches well on the phone. It's funny because the person that you produced it with, Ellie, I actually knew before all you guys, which was wild. Because I met her at Berkeley Conservatory.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Shout out Ellie Williams.
Shout out Ellie Williams.
It was great. She lived with one of my best friends.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Shit.
Never around. But yeah.
It
You
was
can talk about the song.
No, I mean, the 80% of the song was written when we were in South Dakota, and then I just kind of took it and produced it out. I knew I wanted, strings, and it's funny because it's hard for me to remember the original Lost song because then there's like the version of it, which honestly, like what song? Anyway,
Wait, cut.
but yeah, I knew I wanted like strings in it. I wanted like a little bridge section, and there's kind of that crossing over tipping point in the song where it's like almost where John's death is.
Yeah.
And then it gets kind of like, oh shit, he's dead, he's gone. Like this is his last words to Azalea. There's like that big moment at the end, the key changes, and it gets really like cinematic at the end of it, and lining it up with like the end credit thing was like fun to work out with you, and yeah, I think that's for me when the song really like came to life, when I got to like sit in my room for like a whole weekend and just produce it out and like play around with sounds and what I wanted to do with it. But obviously that I wouldn't have been able to do that if we didn't all sit on that first day and like kind of talk about the lyrics and what should be said and how we can tie it into the story arc of John and Azalea's relationship.
I remember while you were producing it, there was one point where you fucking texting, you're like, you need to come listen to this shit right now. So I think I literally just got...
I'm crying, bro.
I think I literally got in my car and I drove over right at that moment.
Yeah.
You played it. It was the last song you played at his senior project.
Yeah, I
It's
was
true,
gonna bring
yeah.
that up.
Yeah,
That was like.
Well, because it was such that period in my life. That period in my... I mean, I'm not a songwriter, and so that was like a moment where I got to kind of just separate myself and be like, oh, no, I'm like John writing this song. I'm not myself. Like, I can kind of step out of my body for a second and make this thing for this project, and I don't feel so personally tied to it. But I was also, at the same time, very proud of it, and I thought that it 100% should be included in my my final send-off thing for college. So
Do you guys have any last things you want to bring up before we kind of start closing down here for a bit? We're probably never going to be in the same room together ever again.
Jesus Christ.
My
God.
When are we going back?
All right, for the reboot, we got
Yeah, you're gonna make it.
Decays II too.
Case 2.5.
Yeah.
You guys have already released
Dude,
3.
I love you guys. Very happy that we're all in the same room together.
Go drink some milk. Thanks to you.
Yeah,
man.
thank you.
Whip.
Dude, thanks you guys for doing it. It's definitely the film I'm most proud of, and I think I'll always be most proud of it. Like, even if I go on to make like a big like motion picture, I think Decays II is always gonna have a special place in my heart.
Shout out to Sophie.
Also, shout out fucking
shout out
Sophie.
Sophie.
I was just thinking of her. Like, she also had a huge part. This isn't spoilers and trailers. She's a lot more involved in what I consider. This feels really weird considering there is a Decays 3. I feel like Withered, which is our upcoming movie, is like a proper sequel to Decays 2. Like, you could go Decays 2 to Withered. And like you get it. It's following the same, it's you're going back after everything had happened and kind of recollecting the pieces. And we make sure to send some love out to you guys in that movie, just because it really is a love letter to like Decays 2 era. But that's one that Sophie's a lot more involved in, who was just a little girl when we shot this one, is a lot more involved, and it's a great movie. And as much as I love it, it does not compare to the experience that I had with shooting Decays 2. Just otherworldly. It's such a great time. And I just want to thank you guys again for doing it.
Cool.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Whip.
Cool.
And thank you your parents for
Oh my God, yeah. Shout out to your
keeping us
parents.
housing
us.
well-fed, and
I sent him some good barbecue from Texas.
I remember that. Yeah. I actually told my parents today that I was doing this, and they were they were stoked
No.
to watch it.
We gotta go back.
Listen, I remember you were telling me like for a couple months after that, you were like, so when can I come back? And I was like, bro, whenever. I don't give a fuck.
I need it.
All right, we'll write John in the Wither too.
All right.